What's going on, everybody? It's Casey here, finally coming back at you. I know I've been gone for a little bit, but that's okay. We're getting back on track, rocking and rolling. Life's been going on. There's just been a bunch of different things. So thank you for hanging in there. People have been messaging me, hey, are you not doing that anymore? Yes, I am. We are on to Proverbs 18 today, and that's where we left off. It's been about 2 weeks since I've recorded one of these, so we are taking right off. I've been diving into God's word, just not in Proverbs, for the sake of you guys. With that being said, I'd love to hop into this. A few quick things. Make sure that if you haven't already, make sure you give us a follow, a like, a subscribe, all that good social media stuff. All that really helps. If you haven't had an opportunity to go over and check out the Iron Tribe, the Iron Tribe is all about faith, grit, and growth. That's what we're all about. Motivational, a community of people coming together, building in our faith, making ourselves better, and growing as individuals. And obviously it takes a community of people to do that. So we got that. That's Iron Tribe. I'll have that linked down below. But let's get this rocking and rolling. I'm going to try to not make these too long as we get into this, because I know some of these have gotten longer over the past. So with that being said, we're going to dive in. Proverbs 18 verse 1. Here we go. Unfriendly people care only about themselves. They lash out at common sense. Fools have no interest. Verse 2, fools have no interest in understanding. Fools have no interest in understanding. They only want to air their own opinions. More about this going into just basically fools. You're being foolish. And this is where I had to check myself, where obviously we tend to only care about giving criticism, but we sometimes have struggled with getting criticism. And this is where I want to encourage you with what we've been diving into over the past month, is literally being more open, being criticized, and then honestly, it's where you're receiving it, right? Because if you're not receiving it, then obviously what they're saying here is you're being a fool. Fools have no interest in understanding. They only want to air their own opinion. Make sure if you're going to air out your opinion, make sure that you are ready to reciprocate it back in return, and then you're not meeting it with anger or something of that nature, which is easier said than done. Verse 3, doing wrong leads to disgrace, and scandalous behavior, contempt. Verse 4, wise words are like deep waters. Wisdom flows from the wise like a babbling brook. Verse 5, it's not right to acquit the guilty or deny justice to the innocent. 6, fools' words get them into constant quarrels. They are asking for a beating. Fools' words get them into constant quarrels. They're asking for a beating. This is where I'd question how are you getting, when you are giving criticism, how are you doing it? Are you sounding like a fool, or are you coming at it from a wise standpoint, wise being calm, that sort of thing? What I will tell you, I struggle with this, guys, on the daily. I struggled with it just over the holiday weekend, to be 100% honest, not to get too big of details. But it was a high intense moment. My anger got the best of me. And whether I was right or wrong doesn't matter. It was how I approached it. I sounded like a fool. And obviously then I had to reap what I sowed on that, to a certain standpoint. But what I will encourage you is don't let that get you down. Don't let that be like, well, I'm just a lost cause at this point. It's all about getting back on track and focusing. Spend some time in prayer on that personally, and just asking God for forgiveness. I had a conversation with a particular person about that situation. Whether they forgave me or not, I don't know. I would like to think they will if they haven't. But what I will tell you, it was not my proudest moment, needless to say. I sounded like a darn fool. So I want to encourage you guys, while we're doing these podcasts, right? I'm doing this Bible study with you in these chapters. Understand that I am not a perfect person. I struggle with, I can stay relatively even keeled for a long time, but just like anybody, I have a breaking point. And the big thing is making sure we don't let that breaking point make us sound like a fool. And that's where constantly learning. I've gotten better about it, but that doesn't mean that I'm perfect. And I just really, really want to share that with you. Now, mind you, it wasn't anything with the wife or I or anything like that, but I wanted to let you guys know that Although I'm sitting here doing this recording with you guys, I am not perfect. I never will claim to be perfect. I'm just a guy that you guys choose to confide in, to reach out to me about biblical stuff, which is absolutely awesome. But I'm a student of the craft just like you are, and I just really want to make sure I touch home on that. So verse number 6 was, the fool's words get them in constant quarrels, and they're asking for a beating. Be aware of how you approach conflict. Be aware of how you give wisdom. Be aware that you're not being a fool, plain and simple. The mouths of the fools are their ruin. They trap themselves with their lips. Literally just goes back into what I just talked about. Number 8, rumors are dainty morsels that sink deep into one's heart. Rumors are dainty morsels that sink deep into one's heart. Got a little snippet here at the bottom. It is as hard to refuse to listen to rumors and gossip as it is to turn down a delicious dessert. Oh, I don't know about you guys, but man, oh man, we just got done with Thanksgiving. I ate my weight in brownies and cookies, but they were good. And we're back on track. December 1st. Here we go. Anyways, you can resist rumors the way a determined dieter resists candy. Never even open the box. If you don't nibble on the first bite of gossip, you can't take the second or the third. Just like dieting, just because you have a bad moment or you had a bad weekend doesn't mean your diet is completely garbage. There's a guy that I follow that he's a personal trainer, and he actually it takes to gain 5 pounds of fat. I think he said it was 10,000. You need to eat 10,000 calories, and I could be totally botching that number, but I knew it was just some astronomical number, right? And so I guess, why do I bring that up? If you bite in, right, whether it's food, whether it's gossiping, which is very easy to do. It was kind of funny. I you caught myself in it yesterday a little bit, to be honest. And you're like, oh man, like, no, hey, Casey, you talk about, if you're not paying for them, don't talk about them, you hypocrite. And it's very easy to do, especially around the holiday season and that sort of things. But I would encourage you to, just because you had a bad moment, correct the behavior, right? Give it to God. And that is where, obviously I think we all struggle to a certain bit, right? And be careful, living in a glass house, right? Or look in the mirror, as we've always said. Focus on the person in the mirror more than you focus on criticizing others. And I think good things will come of that. I know that's something that I've had to work on, focusing on me, focusing on my reaction, focusing on my thoughts, focusing on my actions, and everything else kind of comes into place. So just had to touch on that. I thought that was kind of funny. So long story short, dieting, gossiping, very similar. If you catch yourself taking a bite out of the snack, find yourself talking about somebody, don't let it get you down. Just get back on the right track, as Matt Foley would say. Man, I'm shaking my camera, shaking my desk, getting all excited like JoJo, the Indian circus boy with a pretty new pet. Any Tommy Boy fans out there? Anyways, back to verse 9. A lazy person is as bad as someone who destroys things. Proverbs talks a lot about wisdom, a lot about being a fool, and then you got to work hard. So are you being lazy? Because if you are, you might as well just go break things, because if you're being a lazy fool, oh my gosh, that's 2 for 2. Verse 10, the name of the Lord is a strong fortress. The godly run to him and are safe. So basically this goes back to even when you talk about with gossiping, or even, heck, man, even dieting. I don't know about you guys, but a lot of years, I struggled with dieting, and there's times I still struggle with it. Obviously, as I just told you, I ate about 10 pounds of brownies and cookies this weekend. But the big thing is, if you have that moment where you're diving into gossiping or something of that nature, right? Whether it's dieting, gossiping, had a weak moment, you lost your cool, you got an attitude, you have a negative feeling about somebody, give it to God, give it to the Lord, have a conversation with them, build that relationship, whatever that looks like, and I wish I had the perfect scenario of what a relationship with God's supposed to look like. I don't know. I think it's different with everybody. We're all unique in our own way. And what that relationship looks like to you is, how I personally view it is best friend. Who's, we all have those people that we confide in, right? When we're having a rough moment, we call. And something that I know I need to work on personally is, rather than picking up that phone and calling, literally just taking a deep breath, go separate myself from the situation and literally pray to God about it and give it to him. And I know that may sound silly to some of you who are very maybe just starting to dive in to this relationship with God and Jesus, but I'm here to tell you my good buddy Brad once said, you can never unsay something you didn't say. Like, once you say it, you can't get it back, right? So if you catch yourself in that moment, you have to stop, separate yourself from the situation, and then obviously go dive into God's word. Open your Bible, go pray to him, go turn on different music, go do whatever it takes, right? But I would encourage you to separate from yourself from that situation so you don't say something that you're eventually going to regret. Facing tough times, go to God. Plain simple. The rich think of their wealth as a strong defense. They imagine it to be a high wall of safety. This is kind of more so touching on, like, yeah, all right, having money is good. And yes, it's better than not having a wall at all, but people can climb over walls. It's not a fail safe. At the end of the day, there's only one thing that can really, truly help you, and that's a strong relationship with Jesus and God. That is you know, as I've touched on here before, I've made, whatever I've done, I've made great money and I've made little money. And the funny thing is, sometimes you find yourself more at peace when you don't have much than the times that I did when all of a sudden you're just chasing the carrot, as my good buddy Jeff would always say. And that's a season that actually I'm in right now, just kind of figuring stuff out. And I'm telling you guys, I call it humble pie, right? So I'm getting my humble pie moments when all of a sudden I'm sitting here with you guys and talking about this stuff. I would encourage you to, yes, work hard, earn your money. It's definitely a tool in the tool belt for sure. But at the end of the day, where are you prioritizing it? What God are you worshiping? If you're always worshiping the money God, you won't have much time to be worshiping the true God, the Father, Jesus Christ. So I would encourage you, if that's not something that you're working on, I mean, you might be facing tough times, or maybe not facing tough times, and good for you. But I'm here to tell you, stay humble, because I'm telling you, it's not a matter of if it's going to happen, it's when. At the end of the day, I truly feel that some of those things are all there for a lesson. And I will tell you, are you being open? Are you being wise to the lesson that you are being given? Or are you being a fool and just feeling sorry for yourself? Haughtiness goes before destruction. He precedes honor. I have a snippet here at the bottom for the rich think their wealth is a strong defense. Imagine that their wealth is the strongest. In imagining that their wealth is the strongest defense, rich people are sadly mistaken. Money cannot provide safety. There are too many ways for it to lose its power. The government may seize it back, thieves may steal it, inflation may rob it of all value, but God never loses his power, and he is always dependable. Where do you look for security and safety? Uncertain wealth, or God, who is always faithful? Literally just touches on what I just said. Spouting off, verse 13, spouting off before listening to the facts is both shameful and foolish. Oh, man, I don't know about you guys, but sometimes we always have a saying in our house, are you listening to understand, or are you listening to respond? If you can't say amen, say ouch. I struggle with that. Sometimes you get so caught up, we just want to drive our point home. And this is something that I'm being vulnerable with you guys right now. This is something I definitely struggle with. Wherever that sprouts from, that's a conversation for another day. But I'm telling you, spouting off before listening to the facts is both shameful and foolish. Ooh, if you can't say amen, say ouch. The human spirit can endure a sick body, but who can bear a crushed spirit? The human spirit can endure a sick body, but who can bear a crushed spirit? Basically, what this is touching on is your faith. You can be sick. Actually, we were talking about this at church yesterday, was looking at the blessings. Just because you're sick doesn't mean you're not blessed, right? You can be sick and at least you still have it's all about a mindset and how you look at things. We can always focus on the negative, the negative, the negative. All right, say if you're going through a trial of health, right? And in that health journey, You say you're sick, right? But there's always a way to look at the positive, right? So, do I have a roof over my head? Yes. Do I have food in the fridge? Yes. Do I have food in the pantry? Yes. Do I have a family that loves me? Yes. Do I, I mean, we just listed 3 things right there. One thing I'd encourage you guys, if this is something that, when it comes to focusing on negative stuff versus positive stuff, me personally, guys, there's 2 things that I do. The one thing I'm really good at is I personally I don't watch news. I don't watch the news. I find that they talk about more negative than they talk about positive. I find that it tends to be more about division than it is to bringing together. It's really honestly what really inspired me recording these. I will also say the second thing would be my social media consumption. Jenna and I were actually just talking about this past weekend, where isn't it so funny how the algorithm is made to latch onto us to where that way we can't, they wants to keep us engaged, right? So you're sitting there scrolling, and we can't help but sometimes say the wife and I have a disagreement, plain and simple. I mean, we're married, right? It's not perfect. It's not perfect by any means. We have our trials and tribulations just like everybody else. And I'm telling you, if you don't have trials and tribulations in your marriage, come on now. You're going to have arguments. You're going to have those rough seasons, plain and simple. But what I always find funny is all of a sudden, the ads and the videos that start popping up, where all of a sudden it starts feeding that narrative of what you went through. Our phones listen to us, I'm telling you. And it's honestly even more dangerous than watching the news, because what it does is it literally feeds the narrative that we believe, whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent. It feeds the narrative. And everything that this Bible is touching on is you need to understand both sides of the coin before you make an assumption, before you make your decision, because you're being a fool if you only think your way is the only way. That's foolish. That's foolish behavior. You're being an idiot, plain and simple. Sorry, lack of better words. Jocelyn would tell me that's a bad word, by the way, but you're being an idiot, because at the end of the day, you need to understand both sides. You need to understand both sides of that, for sure. Going back on what the verse said, I went down a rabbit hole there. There's always something. A human spirit can endure a sick body. So basically, a positive spirit can endure a sick body. But if you're broken, oof, that's tough. And if you are broken, if you're watching this right now and you're literally watching me talk and you're like, man, Casey, I'm here because I'm lost, I'm depressed, I have anxiety, I have, sick and tired of being sick and tired. And so, Casey, I'm trying something different. I'm here to tell you everything you are looking for is in God. Everything. And I'm here to tell you there's going to be moments you're going to, it's no different than the first couple weeks of getting into a healthy diet, right? The first couple weeks will go great. And then all of a sudden, you're like, you know what, I got this. And you start pulling back in old habits. The beauty part about our God is he's a forgiving God. He loves you. And he's going to let you do your thing. He's going to let you learn, whether it's the hard way or his way. He's going to let you learn. And I'm here to tell you, once you have that perspective of really me building my relationship with God was literally getting rid of the victim mindset, right? And there's still times I have that for sure, but that's where then I encourage you to lean into God and say, all right, God, I'm feeling sorry for myself right now. Really feeling sorry for myself. What are you trying to teach me? Help me open my eyes. Help me open my heart. Help me open my mind to what you're trying to teach me. And honestly, that takes sitting down in prayer and opening your heart to him. Plain and simple. I say plain and simple, like it's just so easy. It's honestly the hardest part of this whole faith journey, to be real with you. But it can be that simple all day. It can be that simple. Oh, I have this one highlighted. Intelligent people are always ready to learn. Their ears are open for knowledge. Literally goes into what I was just talking about. Open mind, open heart, open. Gift giving can open doors. It gives access to important people. What this is touching on is obviously when you're giving gifts, you never know, and it doesn't have to be like, oh my gosh, I went to the store and I bought you this wonderful gift. Do you like it? No, I say is as simple as inviting somebody over that, you know, doesn't have any family in the area for Thanksgiving. Buying somebody, honestly, I had a good friend of mine. For those that have followed me along on social, I had this tree face thing that this person bought me, and I hung it up on a tree, and I get a lot of joy out of that. Well, she strikes again for my birthday. And on my birthday, I got a rock climbing squirrel. I still have to decide where I'm going to hang that at, but it's a very unique, very cool gift. And I don't know where she finds these things, but like, it's simply it's just so neat. You know, it's not oh, hey, I bought you this wallet, or hey, I bought you this gift card. It's like there was some thought that went into it. And it's just, she's known for buying the most ridiculous things. Like I've gotten chicken fingers from her. We have this very unique dynamic, kind of fun relationship with our families, and it's very awesome. I actually got matter of fact, over on that shelf, I have a slingshot marshmallow deer gun marshmallow. It looks like antlers, and it's like a slingshot. Anyways, my point is here I am telling you about these gifts, and it's like that simple thought. And the funny thing is this person has became a great mentor to our family. We help each other out constantly, whether it's with our kids or whatever. It's just, and I'm always very grateful for that. And I try to think back to where that relationship started, to be honest. Literally just kind of blossomed. So I guess the big thing is that the gift giving, I would say even a gift as your time, giving your time to helping somebody, helping a stranger, helping somebody a friend of a friend. You don't know where this is going to go, because I'll tell you, I'm pretty sure that's how this relationship started, and it's really blossomed into something to where they've actually moved into the area, and it's just a really, really fun friendship. And if she's watching this, she knows exactly who she is, and we're very blessed to have her in our life, and I enjoy her. But anyways, going back here, verse 16, giving gifts can open doors that and gives access to important people. Verse 17, the first to speak in court sounds right until the cross-examination begins. There's actually a snippet here at the bottom that touches on verse 13, 15, and 17. So verse 13 was the spouting off before listening to the facts. Verse 15 was intelligent people are always ready to learn. And then verse 17, the first to speak in court sounds right until the cross-examination begins. It says here on the bottom, these concise statements give 3 basic principles for making sound decisions. Get the facts before answering. Be open to new ideas. Make sure you hear both sides of the story before judging. All 3 principles center around seeking additional information. This is difficult work, but the only alternative to prejudice and judging before getting the facts. Basically, shut up and listen before you give your opinion, before you insert thing here. Plain and simple. Pretty awesome. All right. Flipping a coin can end arguments. It settles disputes between powerful opponents. That's really interesting. I wish I had more there. I forgot about that verse. Flipping a coin. Oh, it says here, Hebrews, casting lots. Casting lots. So flipping a coin can end arguments. It settles disputes between powerful opponents. Sometimes you got to flip a coin. Arguing with the spouse about where to go to dinner, flip that coin. I mean, to be honest with you guys, for all the dudes, just go where she wants to go. Your life will be easier. Just being real. Sometimes it's just easier to go with the flow than it is to try to get what you want in that aspect when it comes to marriage. Verse 19, an offended friend is harder to win back than a fortified city. Arguments can separate friends like a gate locking with bars. I will tell you, this verse hits differently today than what it would have affected, say, a week ago. Because I'm here to tell you, you can't unsay things. And I told you earlier in the episode here, I've talked about how I've gotten a little bit of a dispute with somebody, and it was the perfect storm. I've had a lot going on in life, had a lot going on with work, had a lot going on just in general. And then all of a sudden, this one little moment, I wouldn't say little moment, but it was this one moment that literally compiled. It was a snowball effect. And all of a sudden, I lost my cool, plain and simple. And now all of a sudden, because I lost my cool, I'm in a situation where I said what I had to say. I apologized. I asked for forgiveness. I mean, it's a situation where we both were in the wrong. but it doesn't matter. I can't control that situation. I can only control me. And I looked like a fool. And I've talked on that a little bit. But an offended friend is harder to win back than a fortified city. Arguments can separate friends like a gate locked with bars. And I'm here to tell you, once you can't unsay things, but it hopefully takes time. You find yourself where all of a sudden I've been praying about it. I pray that we can open our hearts back up, and not be, in which we'll be fine. We're going to be fine. There's no doubt about it. I don't want to come off like it's a doom and gloom, but at the end of the day, I said I've said my apology. I've done what I've needed to, I've said what I've needed to say. Now at this point, I give it to God and let him open hearts and open doors that man can't close. Plain and simple. Wise words, verse number 20, wise words satisfy like a good meal. The right words bring satisfaction. A lot of truth in that. Verse 21, the tongue can bring death or life. Those who love to talk will reap the consequences. And as a surprise to you guys, old Case struggles with this. I know if you're not laughing, you should be, because anybody that knows me, I'm a talker. Hence the reason why I'm sitting here talking to a camera with nobody else in the room except Harley. You can see her down in the bottom. I didn't even realize that. I don't even know when she weaseled her way in. I'll tell you, one thing that I've really had to work on, biting my lip and listening. And the moment that I think I got it figured out, I get hit with humble pie with the situation that I've already discussed. Verse 22, this goes out to Jenna. She'll appreciate this one. Who finds a wife finds a treasure, and he receives favor from the Lord. There's a snippet here at the bottom for you folks. This verse is stating that marriage should be enjoyed and viewed as a great gift from God. God created marriage for our enjoyment, and he pronounced it good. Married people need to see their marriage as a great treasure, guarding and protecting them as such. This is one of many passages in the Bible that show marriage as a joyful, good creation of God. I believe sometimes we live in a society now where you have social media where it's like everything's all sunshine and rainbows, right? And I'm gonna come here vulnerably here, and anybody that knows me, and I will let you know that we are not perfect in our relationship by any means, but my gosh, over the last 10 years, we have grown so much, and we're in a growth season right now, to be 100% real with you guys. And I'm here to tell you, it's a trials and tribulations, but then like things like this past weekend, we were setting up Christmas decorations and doing all that. It's like those moments make up for, say, maybe some of the turmoil and hardships that we've gone through. And the big thing is focusing. This is where you can focus on all the negatives that your significant other does, or you can focus on the positive. And I will tell you that is, it's all connected when we talk about what you focus on social media, what you focus on TV, you'll find that they paint this picture and they hit you with certain things and you can't help but laugh. It's kind of ridiculous, to be 100% honest, but my whole point on touching on all this is marriage is definitely a treasure. And I'm here to tell you that if you're not married, if you are dating somebody, enjoy it, have fun. But what I will tell you is you will grow. I mean, you spend more time with your spouse than you spend with anybody else. They know what triggers you. They know what gets you going. They know what motivates you. They know they've watched, like even with Jenna and I, she's watched transformation in myself of how my mindset has shifted, right? A mindset shift from somebody who was 350 pounds when she met him, and now all of a sudden we're sitting here at 230. She often makes the reference, I found a new husband. I got a new husband out of this deal. Same thing with Jenna, watching what she's done with relationships in her life and people in her life and how she's overcome adversity, and how I watch her, even just simple as a conversation this morning that we had, where it's just like we are working on building something that literally can't be broken. And I will tell you, now that I'm sitting here talking about this, I know there's going to be a trial thrown at it because Satan doesn't like that. Because I'll tell you right now, over the past, Satan will find a way to find you in your weak moments, plain and simple. He will. He knows. And this is where you need to pray for your spouse, whether it's your husband, whether it's your wife. You need to pray for them. Pray, 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 pray. And this is where Jenna has always been very good, because I will tell you right now, ladies, because I know there's a lot of you that follow along. So this is for you ladies out there. This is a ladies specific message. Are you ready for this? There was a time that Jenna and I would literally argue. It would be an all out fight about going to church. True story. We would literally argue about going to church. At this particular time, I was working 6 days a week. Sunday was my only day off, and I wanted to go do my thing, whether that was sitting at home, whatever. When there was many mornings where Jocelyn and Jenna would go off to church, and me, I would go do my thing. And I will tell you, the more she pushed, the more I resisted. And all of a sudden, I know over time she kind of backed off. And you can, in her perspective, in her story, and maybe this would be a good episode for her and I, there might be an idea for her and I to get together on this, is she started praying about it. Just praying to God that God would open the door and make it to where we could go as a family. So ladies, I want this to be an encouraging message for you. Pray to, open your husband. Us guys are very, 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 very bullheaded. That'll get brought up, by the way. My wife's gonna see this. And I even recorded it, so she has proof of me saying it. But I will tell you right now, I can be very bullheaded. And literally, eventually, one day, I'll never forget. I was sitting in the man cave doing my thing, and all of a sudden, my daughter came in and said, "Hey, Dad, you going to church today?" And my immediate reaction wanted to be, "Well, no, I'm gonna let you guys go do your thing." And something felt different that morning. And what it was God talking on my heart. And, because I would read the Bible and all that stuff, I often felt God's presence more out in the woods than what I do in the church. And there's still moments sometimes I do, to be 100% honest. But all of a sudden, Jocelyn said, "Hey, Dad, you coming to church?" And I said, "Well, why? Is that something, do you want me to? Is that something that you want me to do?" And she says, "Well, yeah." I said, "All right, I'll come to church." They were literally just walking out the door. I literally put on my hat, put on my hoodie, and out the door we went for church. And I'll tell you right now, it was absolutely crazy, the ripple effect that has had in my life. And I asked Jenna what changed, and basically what changed was she started, instead of putting the pressure on me and creating conflict in our relationship from going to church on Sunday mornings and all that stuff, it turned into, she just started giving it to God. And I'll tell you what, he changed my heart. Like I said, there's still times where I feel I'm more connected with God out in the woods, out in nature, than I am, say, so much when I go to church. But what I will tell you is it's also important that my daughter sees me being a good steward and a good leader in our home. How can I do that if I'm not doing what I'm expecting her to do? Being the example. Where I might have been being the example in those moments about my health and my journey and that. But what was I teaching her from a faith journey? And I was isolating myself in doing that. And I will tell you guys, I'll just wrap this up. Ladies, pray for them. Pray for them. Pray for your husbands. I'm telling you, church has become very much a focal point for us. I tell you what, there's a church family there. There's people that I see just only on Sundays. I never see them any other time. I just see them on Sundays only, or in other little things that we do, getting involved in missions, getting involved in serving in the welcome team. We just did that this past weekend. And those who follow me along on social, you guys see that because we'll post that we're serving. And I'm telling you right now, there's something about just simply whatever God is calling you to serve in that arena. Maybe you just want to go to church, just go to church, sit in the upper deck or sit in the back and just listen. And I'm here to tell you there's a lesson there. And I'll tell you, ladies, just pray. Plain and simple, ladies, just pray. He'll come around. It might. I'm not saying it's going to take a week. I'm not saying it's going to take a year. It might take 5 years, but I think you might be surprised at the results you get once you personally back off and you just start praying for them, and not spitefully praying for them, by the way. I want to touch on that. Not, Lord, you better open up this man's eyes before I pit pat, slap him in the face. Begrudgingly. God, don't listen to that. You need to make sure your heart's in the right place of the intention of your prayer. Once again, guilty of that, by the way. And weird, the prayer didn't get answered. Who would have thought? But making sure your intent for your prayers in the right place, not having deceitful, but pray for your spouse. Pray for them. Promise you he'll come around. If I can come around, they can come around. Guaranteed your money back. Verse 23, the poor plead for mercy. The rich answers with insults. The little snippet here on the bottom says this verse does not condone in insulting the poor. It is simply recording an unfortunate fact of life. It is wrong for the rich people to treat the less fortunate with contempt and arrogance, and God will judge such actions severely. I have this one highlighted. The last but not least, verse 24. There are friends who destroy each other, but a real friend sticks closer than a brother. Now I'm going to read this snippet at the bottom. Loneliness is everywhere. Many people feel cut off and alienated from others. Being in a crowd just makes people more aware of their isolation. We all need friends who stick close, listen, care, and offer help when it is needed. In good times and bad, it is better to have one such friend than a dozen superficial acquaintances. Instead of wishing you could find a true friend, seek to become one. If you look around, you'll find people who need your friendship. Ask God to reveal them to you, and then take on the challenge of being a true friend. I will tell you, and oh man, if I've been very blessed that I have a lot of people that care about me. And I tell you, if this is something that you're struggling with, I love the advice that this Bible just gave us. If you're seeking a friend or you're looking for something, go be what you're looking for somebody else. That's great advice. Man, oh man, I mean, that advice, if you think about it, could even work in a marriage. Like, be the spouse that you would want to have. Truly, and I would encourage you to seek God's wisdom, like it even says here, pray about it. But really dive in and see what the lesson, man, I kind of lost my spot there. I got a bunch of things coming in, and I'm trying not to make these too long, but we're already 40 minutes in at this point, so whatever. Basically, be the example, be the person that you're looking for, and that is the secret to that. So that's verse 24. There are friends who destroy each other, but a real friend sticks closer than a brother. Me, I'm fortunate enough. My brother is that guy for me. That's awesome. But if you don't have that, go be that for somebody else. And I think you'd be surprised at the results. That wraps up today's verse 18, chapter 18 of Proverbs. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you made it this far, make sure you like the video. Make sure you tell me what your favorite verse was. Like, comment, subscribe, share it with a friend. Do whatever you got to do. Don't forget something that we do. If you don't have a tree version Bible, make sure that you let me know and we will get you one. That's something that we do. If you're looking to simply help somebody that doesn't have a Bible, I can shoot you over my Venmo, whatever. We put into a little kitty. We've already had people do it, which is absolutely awesome. If you're looking for a Bible for the holiday season, you want to buy it from somebody, we have recommendations that we can give you. And as always, we're always on the Bible app as well. If you want to follow the tree version or e-version, as we like to say. But once again, guys, thank you. Thanks for being patient. Thanks for following along. If you enjoyed the episode, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. This is Casey. You have yourself a marvelous day.